But more than anything, I think students are connected just by the amount of time that they spend together. Especially for the boarding community, you are on campus nearly all of the time.
I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private and independent schools to bring you insights into school programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administration. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
The thing that I appreciate the most about RNS is probably the relationships that I was able to form during my time there. So that includes my friends, my classmates, all of the girls I lived with in Quinn House when I was boarding, my teachers, my house parents, and pretty much everybody that you come across. Those relationships tend to be so strong, having gone through so much there together and spent so much time together. um, that even when you don't see each other for longer periods of time, you're able to pick up where you left off and it feels like nothing has changed. So I really do appreciate that support network that I have gained through forming all of those relationships, and it's something that I don't take for granted. I can't necessarily speak on what exactly differentiates RNS from other private boarding schools that I don't know too much about. But in my experience and compared to public schools that I previously attended, I think that the support that you receive at RNS is just unmatched. I would not have found nearly as much success as I did at RNS if I hadn't had as much support, especially being away from home and from my family. So I really do credit my teachers and all faculty members for being so supportive and allowing you to lean on them in hard times, personally and academically, to enable you to be the best student that you can be. Um, in terms of what differentiates this school from other private schools, I know that we have an incredible campus. It's 200 and something acres of green space and forests that surround the school. It is located in the middle of an amazing community that provides so many opportunities for our students to get involved. So I don't necessarily know that other schools can say that for themselves. I think that if RNS were a person, I would say that they are welcoming, they are considerate, and they are caring. When you step foot on campus in your first day of your first year, you are welcomed immediately and made to feel like you belong and you are part of the community. Um, they are so caring because they want this for you, and they want everybody there wants you to feel at home and make sure that your needs are met and that they just really want the best for you. And they're considerate because they really do allow you to maintain your individuality and be true to who you are, because they consider your unique needs and allow you to shine as an individual as part of the collective whole. So I would say that they're welcoming, they're caring, and they are considerate of all that you are and all that you need to succeed at RNS. I think that there are a lot of things that connect students at RNS, including everybody's love for the school and school spirit, especially at sports games and activities like Rugby Fest, which happens once a year. It's a big rugby tournament that we hold on campus. Um, I think that academics connect students, especially where students in their upper years are starting to struggle maybe more and they have a higher workload. Students can bond over those challenges and grow together as they complete their academic pursuits. But more than anything, I think students are connected just by the amount of time that they spend together. Especially for the boarding community, you are on campus nearly all of the time. You're away from your parents and your family, so students really do have to lean on each other. And when you live in residence, you gain however many brothers and sisters that you are living with. And I think it's really special because it allows you to form those relationships, and it forces you to lean on each other in times of need. And even for day students, they are there so frequently. You get there in the morning, you're there all day for school with your peers, you're there after school for extracurriculars, and oftentimes they stay for dinner as well. So really just the amount of time that we spend together creates this kind of unbreakable bond that really connects students on a different level. I think that the school's values are inclusion and community, which really do go hand in hand. But I think that they work really hard to create a community that is inclusive and makes all students feel as though there's space for them and there is something for everybody and that they are safe and they are valued and they are respected. I think that RNS really does do a good job of making that known to students. Specifically, I know since I graduated, there have been changes made to the uniform to make it more flexible for everybody and for people to be able to wear something that they feel comfortable in. Um, there's activities for everybody that allow them to engage in the pursuits that they feel are suited to them and that they feel comfortable in. And there are always people to lean on. The community aspect is so big because you can always rely on your house parents, your friends, your teachers. I know I've mentioned how important the relationships that you form there are, but they really do create a sense of community where you feel like you belong. So I think that an inclusive community is probably something that the school strives for and that I have seen as a student. Um, so I think that that would be what they value. I think students and their families might be surprised by just how much a tiny school in New Brunswick of 250 to 300, it might be 300 now, students can offer and how many opportunities there are both on campus and off campus. In terms of extracurriculars, you have things from rowing and rugby to robotics and theater. So there really is such a wide variety that you might not expect of a school with a smaller population. Um, but something beyond activities that might be surprising is maybe the interhouse culture and New River Beach, which is an event that happens every September and students are divided into one of four interhouse groups. There's red house, green house, white house, and blue house. And you're assigned to a group when you get there. And basically, throughout the year, these interhouses compete in different challenges and activities. There is a cheer off where each team makes up songs and cheers and performs for the school. And there's a paint war that always happens at this New River Beach event where every student gets paint essentially of the color of their house and they throw paint at each other. So I think that people would definitely find that surprising, but as a student, it is so fun and something that everybody looks forward to every fall as a bonding experience and kind of an initiation for new students to be part of one of these groups. So yeah, and those activities continue throughout the year, and they are a big part of the school culture that students really enjoy. After having attended RNS, I am far more confident in myself and my abilities. I am more independent and definitely more self reliant. I think being away from my family at such a young age really pushed me to rely on myself and make sure that I am driven and dedicated to getting things done and pushing myself to find success. It has also made me a better leader through experiences working with younger students and through the prefectship program that RNS offers. I definitely was able to kind of hone in on my leadership skills more and understand what it means to be a role model to other students and to children in our community. Um, and it also has made me a better communicator. I feel as though through talking to teachers and mentors and even other students at the school, have become a lot more articulate. And I feel a lot more confident in my ability to communicate both written and verbally, is which I think has helped me a lot in my university experience as well. Something that I think could have been improved when I was a student at RNS is having the opportunity to take mental health days and kind of prioritize your mental well being, especially in an environment that is so academically rigorous. It can be really challenging for our mental health. And we all know, especially now, that mental health is just as important as your physical health. So I think as a student there, it would have been beneficial for me to have the option to kind of take a step back and slow down when I needed to, especially as a boarder. Day students could stay home and take a mental health day if they really needed to, but as a boarder, sometimes you really had to be quite ill to take a day off. But I do know, even now, since I have graduated, they have dedicated space in the wellness center and quiet rooms for people to go when they need to and take a break and slow down and kind of put their mental health first. So I think that that's an example of really meaningful change that has progressed since I've left. And I would have identified it as an area that needed improvement while I was a student, but I think action steps have already been taken to improve this moving forward, which I think is really wonderful. And I am very happy to see that as a graduate. Over time, I think my perspective on the school has evolved to where I really do appreciate some of the things that I might have struggled with a little bit more when I was a student there. Your teachers have really high expectations of you and they hold you to a really high standard, as they should. They're preparing you to be contributing adults and they're preparing you to be university students. They're preparing you to make meaningful change in your community. Um, but as a student, sometimes there's a really strict set of rules and there's non negotiable study time that you have to complete every day. So it can be difficult. Um, but now, as a graduate and as a university student, I appreciate those structured study periods and I appreciate the high expectations that I were held to or that I was held to because I feel like they're a key contributor to my ability to find success post graduation. Um, so, as much as I might have felt frustrated at times with the structure and the rules, I really do appreciate it. And I think that it's made me a lot more driven and determined to push myself and to be a better version of myself, essentially. There are so many reasons that I would recommend RNS to families who are looking for a school that might be a good fit for them. But the first one is just that it's fun. RNS is really fun, and boarding school is really fun. I have so many experiences that I can recall that were just so awesome, wonderful, fun experiences. We went river rafting in grade 12. We went to a treetops course. We had ice cream cake nights in Quinn House when it was somebody's birthday. We just had sports games, New River Beach, like I mentioned earlier. There's just so many fun things that I look back on and cherish those memories. So I really do think it's a fun school that is dedicated to making sure that as a student, you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself. Next would be the relationships that you form. I know I've talked about it a lot, but the connections that you get at RNS are unlike elsewhere. You really do make strong friendships that are not going to go away and are not going to degrade as time passes. They will be strong for a long period of time. And lastly, and maybe this is a really big one for parents, but the way that it prepares you for university is fantastic. I know going into first year, I was much more prepared than a lot of my peers. And I think that that was because of the academics and the structure at RNS. So I really do think that it gives you the determination and it makes you a dedicated learner and a dedicated student who is able to self-discipline and make sure that you are able to study and you're able to live and work independently in university. So I think those are three really good reasons among many that are out there. I would say to parents, don't be afraid that you're not going to be involved in the process for your students or for your child who is a student at RNS. I know I called my mom all the time to talk about all different kinds of things and to keep her involved in the process, especially when I was applying to university. She was involved in a lot of those conversations. So just because you're far away and because your child is maybe at boarding school and you don't have as much contact with them as you normally would, it doesn't mean that you're not an important part of their life and their academics because that conversation is always happening. You also have a direct line of contact with their academic advisor, the teacher that your child is matched with to really oversee everything that they are doing on campus and to check in with them regularly. So, as a parent, you have easy access to your child through the school, to their teachers. You're always involved in those conversations. And you're not by any means missing out on important things that are happening in their lives just because they might not be living in your home. My advice to new and prospective students at RNS is to buy in. Buy into everything that you can and come in with the most open mindset that you can have, and it will make all the difference. If you come in with a closed off mindset and you're not willing to try new things, you really might not have as enjoyable of an experience than you would if you get involved in new things and extracurriculars and service projects and things that you might not have otherwise done before coming to RNS. I think that that really will make a difference in your experience. To me, what you get out of the school is pretty much what you put into it. So if you dedicate yourself to contributing to campus culture and being a part of things and forming relationships and commit to having a good experience, then you'll get a positive experience out of it. Some of the traditions and things that go on at RNS might seem totally silly from an outside perspective, but I promise when you buy into the school and you commit to all that it can offer, you will just be happy to immerse yourself in it, and you will gain so much from that experience.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.